Hey, it's me coming at you again, fresh out of coming to see Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim, underneath a gorgeous full moon and a, as of yet, undrone-filled sky. For now. I don't know. Might as well laugh while we got it, eh? Saw this movie, loved it for a whole variety of reasons. Let me break this down for you. As you know, this is my 5-minute reviews that I do when I come out of a movie right into my car, so that as I'm processing out loud and process with me and tell you whether or not to see the movie. A lot of different reasons. First of all, I'm kind of disappointed that it has a limited run in my area. I've got about 4 or 5 Regal theaters maybe within my area, and this was just showing at one, which surprises me considering how popular the films were and how popular, obviously, the books. I'm going to sound like I don't ever read. I read these books when I was young too, but that's also a reason that I really like this is Lord of the Rings history. Obviously, with Tolkien writing in, the appendixes and Silmarillion, I pronounced that wrong, I probably did, now someone's going to come after me, is dense. It's so much dense history, so much dense mythology. And as a real-life history teacher, I have enough rattling around in my brain of the history of the world. I've got Aaron Burr over here and William Jennings Bryan over here, Napoleonic conquests over here, and it's just all like constantly rolling through the head, that it's also hard to hold the history of a fantasy world as well. I apologize. Also, evidently, speaking is a hard time in my head as well. But my apologies to Tolkien and Tolkien's fans. But that's what I liked about this movie, was you don't have to know necessarily what was in the appendices and the history to really get into this movie. You don't even have to really watch the films or have read the books to see this as a really great standalone story of Lord of the Rings. I mean, obviously it helps because there's a lot of things that tie forward and you're like, oh, but those are more for the satisfaction piece where you're like, I remember, oh, hey, and you're like, oh, Helm's Deep, this is, where Gimli fought right over there, and, thinking forward obviously is helpful to it, but you don't have to have that. And again, that's why I'm surprised about the limited run that I see of this film in my area anyway. I think it's a really great film. I mean, obviously there's a huge fantasy wave out there, and there's just his getting into it. Game of Thrones, yes. Last Unicorn, yes. All these things that are rolling into my head as I watch this movie, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm a huge fan of animation and have been since childhood, and obviously more fun animation, but also more just beautiful animation, the Rankin and Bass stuff, the Ralph Bakshi stuff that I grew up with, movies like The Last Unicorn, which I just mentioned, but also Don Bluth movies that were so beautiful, like An American Tail and Secret of Nim, and on and on and on. I'm wasting time on this, but I am a huge fan of animation, and I'm a huge fan of the Studio Ghibli films, and My Neighbor Totoro, special place in the heart. Grew up watching, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer on HBO, the anime version, and Seabert, and all these things that I'm running out of time just talking about. But my bottom line on this is this movie is so beautiful, and it is a combination of the best that I've always loved about animation. Hand-drawn, computer-drawn. This is like the pinnacle. And it runs on for, 2.5 hours. The talent behind drawing this film and putting this film together, the camera angles, the soaring of the eagles, the point of view shots, wow, you got to see it at least for that if you're a fan of animation. Like I said, I felt a lot of Last Unicorn vibes in it, so I also felt like there was a really nice tribute being paid to the Bakshi and Rankin and Bass versions of The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I mean, obviously the music's missing. You don't have any orcs singing the classic song, Where There's a Whip, There's a Way. You know what I'm saying? Awesome stuff. But Last Unicorn, definitely felt the vibes, the tears in the eyes, and even, I don't even want to give away the voices that are combined from Last Unicorn to this one. I don't want to give away the connections of the voices from old animation to this animation. I don't even want to give away the connections of people who voiced this film that you saw in the movies. I don't stay till the credits and be surprised by some lovely hobbitses. 5 minutes is up, but this movie, great if you're looking for a really strong female character. Hera, as I would call her now, the mother of eagles. The battle scenes, there's just sometimes animation can tell stories that you can't tell just with film, and I think even Tarantino recognized that in Kill Bill when he made the animated sequences. There's just some things you can do that you can't do on film with live actors, and you need to be able to express it as a really beautiful, sweeping story, and this does that. If you're a fan of animation, you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, you're a fan of Game of Thrones, you're a fan of fantasy lore, you're a fan of any of that stuff within that realm, go see this film. Go give this film a chance. It's riveting. And, Brian Cox is in it, and I couldn't help think of the ties to him in Succession. I'm running the 6-minute review. The fact that he has some eldest boys that are at issue, and then a redheaded daughter. And I'm like, oh, Siobhan? So, maybe you'll see that too. Maybe it's just inside baseball in my head. But go see Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim, and I think you're going to be wowed at the art, wowed at the story, wowed at what they can do with this, and how it ties beautifully to the other stories. And I love that Peter Jackson's involved too with it. So, I'm at 6.5 minutes. I'm sorry. Go